Hey, what is going on YouTube? AA Ron here. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are in the Christopher O. Colombo, the newest legendary tier battleship to come to World of Warships Legends. This is now available in a Bureau project, and as you guys know, Wargaming gives me these ships for, I think, 2 or 3 weeks to test and showcase. And guys, this was actually our very first game, and what better for a first look video than our very first game. This turns out to be a pretty fun game, which it showcases everything you need to know about this ship. Now, if you guys were on the live stream last night, make sure you tune into those. They were a lot of fun, except it was Update Monday, so we had some pain included in the good games. But if you guys saw our games in the Colombo last night, I actually really enjoy this ship. We had much better games, but as YouTubers and community contributors, I feel like we tend to overhype sometimes ships. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm probably going to overhype this ship, but the reason I'm doing this first look video is, it's maybe not the most impressive game, but I want you guys to have a fair and accurate understanding of a ship, especially if you're going to be spending money on it, and especially if you're going to be spending 6 months, wasting time trying to get it completed in the Bureau. But the Colombo is the highest tier Italian ship. You've got 16 15-inch guns there, as well as 9 kilometers if you've got the secondaries, 9.1, 9.2 fully maxed out. Mine are like at 9, but I think I'm missing, I think my Haruna's 15.2 or 16.2 or something like that. So I think 9.2 is potentially your maxed out range. But those SAP secondaries, as we know, absolutely rip. You couple that with a pretty decent, package in the guns, good armor, and of course the rolling smoke. Now you can tell this is my first game because I don't have the secondary consumable on. But we actually got a game with a viewer here, Ballisma. I don't say. A lot of you guys have some weird names that I'm not good at pronouncing. But we actually get kind of caught here. You'll notice on broadside, but we see that Kleber, so I decide to turn out. And that is when this Petro, who was actually a viewer, and it's important that we mention him later on, he decides to shoot. We pop our plane just as a little torpedo, deterrent. Sometimes the plane will catch torpedoes if you pop it, and it kind of circles around. And while I was talking about that, we took a pretty massive broadside. We got a little bit lucky that we did not, get yeeted any more. You do have kind of a weak broadside that is one of the balancing factors of this ship, and that is when the division mate of Ballisma here actually set us a smoke screen, which was pretty helpful. The rolling smoke, we could have used that, although we did shoot. And something people tend to forget is the Italians, have that smoke firing penalty, which has actually been increased. I think our smoke firing penalty is like 10-9. But here's a perfect example of that, because we are blasting away with our SAP secondaries. Although this Kleber popped up and I wanted to get around, something that is, also pretty cool for this ship is the back turrets are 360 degrees. So you can swing to the left, you can swing to the right, and still pretty much have most of your turrets on target. But something you do lose when you run that secondary build is a touch of accuracy. As you can see, we only got 1 penetration on that Kleber there. This Kleber is playing it risky, and I wish maybe one of those DDs had gone around and tried to spot him. But you can see that there's, I think, 2 Giuseppe Verdes here, both of which have radars, as we were actually radared a bit earlier. So, I can't blame those destroyers for not wanting to be close to those. The Giuseppes are actually decent ships if you kind of run a mixed secondary build there. It's just not a ship that I was, really interested in, especially now that we've gotten the Colombo. But here we're just trying to take shots. We're angled. We've got a lot to deal with on our side. In this game, it gets a lot close. If you're paying attention to how games go, there was a chance we don't win this game. But there, that Kleber pops up again. So what we're going to do is we're going to target him with, you can see the little icon for our advanced secondary targeting, or priority secondary targeting, and so the secondaries are heading his way. That Kleber is pretty fast, though, so he is, going to... You can see that the accuracy on the secondaries sometimes is to be desired, but we get another 16-gun salvo, and it says 5 penetrations, and I think Wargame... I don't know why it says 5 penetrations, because when your gun caliber is over 280, you can only do overpens, as that Petro gets another broadside, chunking a good bit of our armor. And that is when we decide to use our rolling smoke. We want to turn around here. You can see that our team is being aggressive, that charge kind of being led by the Schlieffen there, so we're going to be aggressive with them. it only benefits you, if you, especially if you're running a secondary build, to be aggressive in this ship. The problem is sometimes in this game you will get the backlining American commanding battleships who want to snipe at 50 kilometers and never get their paint scratched and think it's the entire team's responsibility to kill everything except for the broadside cruiser. I had a guy the other day in a Shima, he avoided the cap and went for torps, and then he got on the mic and I was shooting. He's like, "You stole my kill!" I had a good laugh at that one. I actually think I have a voice comms. I should probably make that a YouTube short. But anyway, here, that Schlieffen got torpedoes and looks like a fire on that Giuseppe, but he put himself in a tricky spot. But we're going to go ahead and push. I said we're going to, in-game I remember thinking we're going to test this ship's capabilities. We're going to go brawling, right? We have good armor. We've been broadside a few times, not really to any super dangerous threats, like a Burgoyne, Yamato. The Schlieffen can, touch our broadside, and a Petro sort of can as well, but I want to get in here, get in close. You do have a slight turtleback, which, helps protect you up close, which is, how the ship is sort of meant to be played. Our cruiser is doing a fantastic job pushing into D there, trying to even out this advantage. You can see we are a cap down and a ship down, and we're about to be another ship down. I don't know why Shima players. he goes in front of a radar cruiser and a Schlieffen. He was getting torpedoes on target and he was getting spots, but here we actually see that the Petro and the Schlieffen are broadside, and this was a very difficult decision. I wanted to shoot the Schlieffen, but this Petro gave us a great opportunity. We know that he has very good side armor, but not when you're broadside, and good night, thanks for playing. A GG's to that gentleman. He came back in a later video or stream and said, "Hey man, I was the Petro that got blapped. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to you." So GG's to him. And here is actually, I'm going to be honest, here is a little bit of a damage hunting mistake. Now, there's two reasons that I shot the Schlieffen here. He was pushing our Shima. I wanted to keep him alive. And I went ahead and activated or priority targeted the Colbert there. Also, we have that cruiser in Delta. Now, you guys know that the Colbert is a... it has a slower shell velocity. As you can see, he's trying to lob as we get a beautiful hit on that Schlieffen. So if you can get this thing in close, get those broadsides, and allow these secondaries to go off, this ship can be absolutely disgusting. And you guys saw it last night. We had an epic comeback Kraken, which will be a video later this week. But here we're actually going to go ahead and turn in. We are guessing that the Schlieffen launched torps. And our guess is correct. He launched 2 sets at our predicted path. Sometimes German battleship players always like to they just like to launch them at as soon as they go white instead of yellow. They're launch now. As the Colbert the Kleber gets a torpedo on us. Not the maximum damage, but it floods and we had a fire, so we're going to go ahead and repair that. And we're actually going to turn around. We did lose our DD advantage, and you can see we are still down on caps and still down on ships. Now, at this point in the game, I kind of, accepted that this was probably going to be a defeat, but this is why in close games, and you guys, like I said, you've seen me on stream when my team decides to give up. We had one last night in the Z44, and guys, I'm going to be honest, the Z44, I need to do a few more games, but I'm not. A few people have said this is a campaign they're going to skip, and I can't blame them. But again, we will try and do a video for you guys and give it a fair and honest look. But in that game was over in 3 minutes, and the point I'm trying to make is some games are over in 3 minutes, but this is a game that we still had a chance in. Why? Well, because we have a smart player in Ballisma there, and our team is still alive on the opposite flank, and I still have some breath in me. And like we just proved, the Colombo, when you can get her in close and get those secondaries cooking, can be an absolute, just thumper of a battleship. Unfortunately, our team did not get the message as I flashed them the good luck or the thank you. But you can see the Ballisma is moving into the C cap there, and what that's going to do is make the Kleber choose. We can probably tell that he is behind that island, as Ballisma says he is detected there. And he actually made the smart play going for the caps. Why? Well, we're down on points, and we're going to be down on ships, and we're probably never going to see that Kleber again if he's smart. You guys saw how little health he was on. And again, hindsight is always 20/20. I probably should have taken that shot on him, but I in the moment I was trying to save the Shima. There was a broadside Schlieffen who, if he gets next to me, yeah, I could potentially pull off a drive-by as we try and get a cheeky blind fire. Sometimes I have actually hit one of those in my life, and it was the best feeling in the world. It was such a long time ago. I should probably make a bunch of YouTube shorts. But just talking about strategy, because we left that Kleber alive, he is a huge threat to us. So anytime and that's why it's so important to take shots at destroyers, right? One more overpen from any battleship, or one shot from any cruiser or destroyer, and one shot and that Kleber is dead. But we really don't have time to worry about it. We have this Azumo here who is being absolutely melted by the 3 remaining ships on that flank. As you can see, Ballista, I feel like I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but I don't care at this point. So he is getting that C cap, and he's actually going to work his way around. We know that the Colbert can have that engine boost and is a moderately fast ship, as well as, if we're out here providing spots for him, he can DPM his way into victory. We launched the front 2 turrets that just cleared, and then the back 2 turrets. And guys, I'm telling you, despite not being maybe the most accurate guns, you can see that these things still hit very hard. And it's more so accuracy by volume. 16 guns, even if you get one, of course, these things are never going to be the most accuracy, but something we probably need to try is an accuracy build, on this ship. But that Azumo just went down, so now it is just us versus these 3 ships, and we know that we probably have a Kleber behind us. Now, he is not into the decap just yet, so we know that, we're safe from being, caught up with, in the meantime. But here, we don't have any more heals. We do have our rolling smoke, but we need to, keep the spots for him. You can see Ballista there as already into A, and that is when the Alaska pops up. So, in order to help keep my comrade teammate alive, we're going to help target that Alaska. So, a beautiful, execution of team play here. If he wasn't on my team, we'd probably lose this game. He got the caps, and he also got a good amount of damage here at the end when it was crucial. So it's always fun when you get those people who realize, as we absolutely smack the Alaska and get that high caliber, but he got the kill there. It's always fun when you get somebody who understands what needs to be done in the game. And I can't tell you how frustrating last night was. It's just people who just don't. I know we know it's a video game, right? And I've kind of zened myself from really caring too much about the outcomes of games anymore. But like, it's just frustrating in the moment when somebody doesn't understand. It's like, okay, if I get the cap and we get this kill, oh, we win. And you guys can see that being, on display right now. We are almost up on points. We popped our rolling smoke here, and we're allowing our secondaries to do their thing. Balisma gets the kill there, and we're now we're not actually up on points, but we're 4 points down, and he is about to get the A cap, and we will have a 3-2-1 cap advantage. Now, looking back at the replay, I probably should have turned hard left. I thought he launched torps, and you can see his last known position was slightly to the left there, so that's kind of why I'm keeping my guns in front. But he probably zoomed past us right at this point. And you can actually see that our plane was shot down, so he's actually on the right here. So a touch of a mistake, but that's why I don't really like watching my replays sometimes. You just see every mistake you could have made or every move you didn't. But there he gets us with the torps, and we're actually now down on points. But Balisma's still alive, and we have a 3-2-1 cap advantage with a minute or 90 seconds to go there. So you can see, because he has mitigated his island concealment and dodging shells, that he is nearly full health. But you guys know that a Kleber and a Kaba, if he gets those broadsides, can absolutely obliterate a Colbert. That's probably why the Colbert was buffed, because people just refuse to angle or don't understand the game, and they want to sail broadside. But here he's going to go ahead and work his way into the B cap, so they cannot get it. Honestly, he probably didn't need to go that far, but he's got a decent chunk of health. So you can see that the points are slowly ticking back in our favor. You do lose approximately, it's approximately a 100-point swing when you lose a battleship. I think the enemy team gains 60 and your team loses 40. But because he got those caps, we have the cap advantage, and he's kind of sitting here. So if that Kleber tries to make his way in, he can easily kill him and get the advantage back for our team. But it doesn't matter. The Kaba shows up. He's trying to, make sure that he doesn't get torped. Both of those ships have, very low torp ranges. And there comes the Kleber torp. So the Kleber is close. But as you can see, we're taking those points. It's going to be close. It's going to be a close one. And just at that moment is when we tick ahead. So all he needs to do is make sure he doesn't die here, and he's not going to. He's not giving up broadside. He already missed or avoided the Kleber Torps. And that is a huge W for our team, as he took the high caliber as well. So a huge shout out to him. Him and his division mate are a huge part of why we got that win. So, but that is the game. Like I said, not an overly 200,000 cracking first game, but my very first game in the Colombo. And guys, I really enjoyed this ship. But we're going to go ahead and throw it to Aaron from the future here as he talks about the commander and the stats of the ship. All right, here we have our commander, Mr. Paulo de Revel, the brawling commander, which is ironic because we're actually not running brawler, we're running not one for nuisance. I don't like decreasing your added, I don't like decreasing the range there. Porcupine as well as firefighter, and then of course master mechanic. You could make the argument for properly meticulous, but you're not really gaining any range, just a touch of reload. So, yeah, maybe not a true full secondary build. And then, of course, we have Fight Fire with Fire. We are not a beta Will to Rebuild user. And then our inspirations are, of course, Hipper and Haruna. Haruna is only 15.2, like I think I said in the video. The specs and the new spec screen, I'm going to be honest, I hate it, but here it is, 83,000 health. It's kind of mediocre, maybe a little low for legendary tier. And here are the guns, 4x4 381s, like we said in the video, 17.3 range, like we mentioned, without brawler. And you do lose a touch of reload, 31.9. So slower reload, but you have 16 of them, make those shots count. And of course, the 9-kilometer secondary range. AA defense is almost irrelevant. You don't see carriers too often. Even if you did, if you got focused, you're just done for. Maneuverability, you're a battleship, 30 knot speed with a pretty large turning circle, and concealment, again, with concealment module, you are a battleship, 13.6 there. Now that is with concealment module, and you could make an argument for RGA, especially if you're brawling a lot. You can push those smoke screens and you get that added detection. But we are running aiming systems, propulsion, concealment, and of course the secondary Chad legendary secondary module there in the 4th slot. But let's go ahead and take a look at the armor here. You have that 32mm nose with the 50mm icebreaker. You're pretty chunky, and I actually didn't realize this until actually looking just now at the armor. You've got a pretty protected citadel, so that's probably why we didn't take some massive damage. We still took a lot of damage, but those mid-range shots, you can see the citadel is pretty close, if not under the water there. And yeah, you've got a slight turtleback, so right at the waterline there, those mid-range shots by the high velocity of the French and Yamato with, of course, the massive pen there. Those are going to be the shots that kind of chunk you and citadel you. But up close and obviously far away, plunging fire is kind of a different factor. But that is the armor there, guys, and this is the Cristoforo Colombo. A huge beast, and there's kind of where you're going to be taking a lot of your damage, that chunky upper middle belt, which is where I tell everybody to aim anyway. Because sometimes getting citadels like that, especially on a ship like this, is unreliable. But guns aplenty, full circle, the 360 turrets there, an exhaust smoke generator. An absolute beast of a ship I'm having a lot of fun playing. You guys will see me in her a lot these next 2 weeks. But yeah, that's the video, first look. We have a lot better games coming, so stay tuned for those. Hope you guys have a great day. AA Run out. Peace.